Hello, and welcome to the 19th Annual Green Living Festival, coming to you from the Earthways Center at Missouri Botanical Garden. I'm Jean Ponzi, a member of the Earthways team, and it's my very happy responsibility to get to have a conversation with each one of our festival exhibitors to spotlight the resources that we have gathered here. We like to say sustainable solutions for you. Ideas to green your home and your lifestyle, where you live, where you work, where you play, where you worship, all around our lives at, of course, in these times, the safe and healthy distance. There are events happening live on Saturday, June 6th, Tuesday, June 9th, Thursday, June 11th, and there is a wealth of stuff that you can click on and view at your leisure, all gathered at mobot, mobot.org/greenlivingfest. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Ameren, Missouri, energizing with sponsorship support efforts to bring all this together and marshal our electrons and promote green living in a way that we can all do in a safe and healthy way. My conversation in this segment is with Kyoung. She is the president of Forrest Keeling Nursery, and they are a participant, especially on June 11th, our Naturescaping Day, when we're focusing our learning and our efforts and our conversations around ways in which human beings and plants and animals of all kinds can biodiversify our environments with native plants and with some eco-logic. Hi, Kyoung, how are you?
Well, I'm doing great, Jean. This is a pleasure to get together virtually and be part of the Green Living Festival.
The only thing better would be if you were here in person and we could see the trees and the bushes that you always bring to events like this. I have to say, I personally have a bunch of Forrest Keeling trees and bushes growing in my yard, and you're doing a great job. Where is Forrest Keeling Nursery?
Jean, we are located in Elsberry, Missouri. We're on Highway 79, just south of Elsberry, about a short hour's drive from St. Louis.
And there's something about the way you grow plants that really makes a difference in the health and vigor of the plants. I think you call that RPM. What does that mean, Kim?
That stands for root production method. And it's a multi-step process that we actually have patented. And what it does is it increases the root mass of plants, and
hold it right up to the camera. Let's see that. Let's see those roots. Hold it up a little.
You see that?
Oh yeah.
And what I really want you to see is do you see the little white speckles throughout that?
Yeah.
That's mycorrhiza. And we inoculate everything we grow with mycorrhiza at a very early age. And it's real important for soil health that we're getting all this good beneficial microbial action in the plants. And this little sapling is it was brought out of stratification in March, around March 1st. So it's June 1st, roughly. So it's just 60 days old. And then we take that from that point and we put it into a 3-gallon. And at the end of the season, we'll have a 5-foot tree. And you'll also see the mycorrhiza on this plant. Again, it's something unseen in our plants that you get to take home and put in your own garden. It will inoculate your own soil with mycorrhiza, which is just it's an added root system for the plant. It allows it to take up nutrients and minerals that it would not normally be able to take up.
And you, Kim, as a tree growing specialist, president of Forrest Keeling Nursery, you probably have known about, one of the catchphrases is mycorrhizal networks, about that relationship of microorganisms and fungi in the soil and the way in which that's all connected in the soil. And that's kind of new news in ecological literature. But Forrest Keeling's been working with this for a long time, haven't you?
Oh, over probably 25, 30 years
Huh.
we've been working with mycorrhiza. And it's just one of the steps in our
Yeah.
growing process that allows the plant to take up more nutrients and water and air and all the things that they need to grow. And for instance, this tree that I'm holding,
Yes.
I know you can't see the whole thing, but it's as tall as I am, and I'm not very tall, but I am 5'2". And so this little tree here that's going to be planted right now will be this size in September.
Wow.
It'll put on 4 to 5 flushes of growth, and you can see these from last year. There's one flush there. There's the second flush here. Well, where's my third flush? Not seeing it, but
that'd be a conversation for Metropolitan Sewer District. I made a joke.
This is the first flush for this spring. So,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's.
So if your knowledge of arboriculture, your knowledge as plantsmen and women is really contributing to the health and vigor of the plants that people are going to be investing in and putting in their yard. And I know you specialize in native plants, yeah?
Yes, we do. And even further to that, we specialize more in native woody plants. We do grow perennials, but we're known for our woodies and our trees and shrubs. We do. There are 21 native species of oaks for the state of Missouri. We grow all of those, plus some hybrids, some natural hybrids that. Oak is an evolving species, and so there's a lot of hybrids in growing oaks.
Well, you have some images to show us, Kim. I'm going to pause a moment and let you get those up.
Okay. All right.
So, Kim, that was an oak tree you showed us a moment ago, and here you are. The first in your slides is focused on an oak. Why that one? It's a big family, I know, but why that one kind of tree would be the best choice?
Well, and to quote Doug Tallamy, Bringing Nature Home, he says, if you can only plant one native species, let it be an oak. And that's because an oak supports the most amount of pollinators, songbirds, wildlife. Oak is in almost every species diet in some way. And it's just the most rich food you can give to our pollinators and our wildlife.
So and Doug Tallamy, for our viewers, if you haven't heard of him, he's a bug guy, an entomologist from the University of Delaware, and he is the best writer and articulator of why it's important to use ecologic in our landscape and plant native plants. And Forrest Keeling, there you are, natives, that's your specialty. I remember one of the quotes there is that basically almost any oak species can host between 600 and 900 different kinds of insect larvae. And we wouldn't be seeing all those caterpillars, but birds would be seeing them if they're trying to reproduce.
That's true. And a lot of people will immediately say, well, I don't have room for an oak. They're big trees. But there is one, dwarf chinkapin, Quercus prenoides, that only gets to 20 to 25 feet. And it's a prolific acorn bearer. So you can plant an oak, even if you don't have a lot of room.
Ha ha. What's your next visual aid there, Kim?
We've got, we're talking about 6 edible species for urban gardens. And the first one is pawpaw. And I actually happen to have a pawpaw plant. Oh, can't see it. I'll have to show you that in a little bit.
We will.
We've got pawpaw, pecan, persimmon, elderberry, hazelnut, aronia. These are all great native edibles that you can put in your garden and grow some of your own protein and fruits, and you got hazelnut and pecan. Walnut's not on here, but there's so many native options for edible garden.
So these one of the fun terms about this that comes, I know, from the gardening discipline of permaculture is to have a food forest. And Pawpaws, for example, Earth Dance Farm up in Ferguson, the farmer training school, the organic farm, they have been growing food forests of pawpaw and teaching people how to cook with and eat pawpaw when they bring the fruits of their trees to the farmers market. This is a whole new diet option. And some of these are edible for human, Kim, but do these plants also provide nourishment for wildlife?
Sure, they do. Sometimes you have to beat the critters to them. It can be a challenge, but yes, all of these would support wildlife as well.
Right now, I'm keeping a close eye on the ripening berries of my serviceberry, or sarvisberry, as we like to say in Missouri. They're not quite to that purple stage yet, but I sure hope I can get a few before the birds get them.
There you go, and that's one that's not even on the list, but it's an excellent edible plant.
And you, Forrest Keeling, if I were to come to you and say, okay, so my yard is about this size and it's in this suburb, and I have a couple of big trees, I'd like something else, you would be able to advise me on what I might want to best choose.
Yes, absolutely. And we have a very, very knowledgeable staff, and everybody is very dedicated to native plants, and enthusiastic about promoting them. And we can certainly guide people to put the right plant in the right place.
Mm-hmm. Very, very important. Do you have one more image, Kim, or was this the last one?
The only other image I have, Jean, is just our contact information.
Please.
Leave that up there for a second and let everybody, feel free to call me or email me direct. Love to interact with our customers, and would love to see you we're open 6 days a week. During the whole pandemic, we started closing on Sundays, and we're going to remain so. It gives us time to clean and gives our staff a break. Sure. But love to see you come out and visit Forrest Keeling. There's just a lot to see. We grow over 350 different species, and 95% of them are native. So come on out.
Let's pause a moment, and then I'd like to see that pawpaw. Kim, I'm glad that you mentioned pawpaw. Isn't that the only tree that is like a tree that's a fruit bearer, not a berry bearer, that's native to Missouri?
That is correct. And it's also Missouri's state native tree now. It was named that by Governor Parsons a few months back. And I happen to have one here. I'll show you. But it has beautiful foliage, and it's almost, it's tropical looking. Mm-hmm. It is definitely related to tropical plants out of Central America. And if you don't know the fruit, it's a kind of oblong green fruit, and it can vary in taste. We've had many tastings out here, and there are selected cultivars, just like you would select for any fruit that may have fewer seeds, maybe a larger fruit, and those are grafted, and we grow probably 15 varieties of those.
I know we're talking about trees here, not about fruit, but the first time I ever got a pawpaw, an actual fruit, it's one of its common names is the custard apple, and I was going to make custard out of it, and I mistakenly used chili powder instead of cinnamon in it.
Oh no!
I know, I wasted a whole pawpaw. That was so sad.
Well, I don't know. That may be a new thing. It seems like they're adding heat to just about everything.
Yep. So, Kim Young, Forrest Keeling Nursery, you are one of a number of, a small number, but mighty native plant producers that you often will bring your plants to plant sales in St. Louis City, in St. Louis County. Obviously, that's been limited in 2020 because of safety and health conditions. But you're a great participant in so many different native plant events that we have that give people an opportunity to learn and get the plants. That's the fun part.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we were able to participate in some of those virtually and this year, and we made deliveries, and you can always schedule a pickup online.
Thank you for being a part of the spring wildflower sale at our Shaw Nature Reserve. Everybody had to order online and then drive through and pick up. That was very, very well organized, and Forrest Keeling was there. Thanks.
Yes, that went very well.
So over the time that you've been involved with Forrest Keeling, Kim, you're the president now, how have you seen people's interest and attitudes in native plants hopefully grow?
Well, it certainly has, and it's so exciting. It's an exciting time to be a native plant grower. We do a lot of work in conservation, restoration type projects, wetland restoration, and we're starting to see that movement cross with the retail and homeowner. And just planting a few native plants in your yard may give that butterfly or that bird just a little spot that he can pick up and carry on his journey. And it's a patchwork. It's a quilt. And if everybody puts a little in their yard, it can make a big, big difference.
Well, you mentioned Doug Tallamy. One of his ideas is, he calls it homegrown national park, is that if we all have some native plants in our landscape, that patchwork really does become a whole quilt. And one of our programs, one of our workshops on Naturescaping Day, June 11th, will be actually examples of homegrown national park projects in the city of St. Louis.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And in Webster Groves, yeah. So people will be able to see in the Green Living Festival a lot of good reasons to grow natives. Are there any problems with growing natives?
You have to, the biggest problem is putting the right plant in the right place. I referred to that a little earlier. Just because they're natives doesn't mean that they can't be invasive. You have to, there are some things that you have to keep in check. A lot is just a learning curve, and learning how they perform, and it can just be so rewarding. I have native plants in my garden, and it's breathtaking.
It's fun.
And
it's very fun.
Yeah, and you're using fewer chemicals, and I mean you don't need to spray natives, and it's just so much better for the environment.
Kim Young of Forrest Keeling Nursery, we really appreciate you being Forrest Keeling being in the Green Living Festival, and it's been a pleasure to talk to you today about one of my favorite subjects, native plants.
Well, thank you, Jean. It's our pleasure to be involved as well.
We encourage folks to get in touch with you and look for opportunities to find plants and get plants and enjoy the plants that evolved in our place, the plants that are our peeps here in our region. Thanks.
Very good.
Thanks.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Interviews with the exhibitors for the 19th Annual Green Living Festival are available to enjoy and review at your leisure at mobot.org/greenlivingfest. Also, links to the many pre-recorded resources that we have, and links to register for the live resources that we have. I mentioned in this conversation with Kim Young the Homegrown National Park panel, which will take place from noon to 1 on June 11th, Naturescaping Day. All of the things that take place live will be available on an ongoing basis. So plenty of things to learn and enjoy and hopefully incorporate into your green living. Thanks from all of us at the Earthway Center at Missouri Botanical Garden, especially to our presenting sponsor, Ameren Missouri, and especially to you for viewing these segments and for being a participant in this Green Living Festival and for all of the green things that you do.